Hello and welcome to Quays News. I'm Marion Tabagoma.
And I'm Lucy Davenport. Here's what's coming up on today's show.
Our top story for today. Tomorrow marks the International Women's Day and our reporter Anna Stelfox will explore more on how people feel about this year's events.
So for me, I think it's important to mark that, women's history is important because it's important here because of both the kind of the ostracisation, if you like, but also the acceptance.
A Salford man is pushing his personal boundaries by attempting to run 8 marathons this year. With the first one taking place this weekend, Sam Armitage will have more later.
And I'll be talking all things fashion in my segment later on.
International Women's Day is tomorrow and our reporter Anna Stelfox went to find out about how people across Manchester will celebrate this weekend.
This Friday is International Women's Day, where worldwide women are recognised for all achievements. I went to the Portico Library and spoke with feminist and worker there Debbie to find out more.
That we were one of the first kind of independent libraries to admit women as equal members in 1904, probably because of the influence of Emmeline Pankhurst. Her husband had been a member till he died. So for me, I think it's important to mark that women's history is important because it's important here because of both the kind of the ostracisation, if you like, but also the acceptance.
Her and the women with her that followed her fought for our vote. Instead of the patriarchy of the male society, we had a say through women in the suffragette movement.
This Saturday, we'll see the return of Walk for Women, a walk through the centre of Manchester where women joined by their family and friends will walk in the footsteps of those before, like the suffragettes and Emmeline Pankhurst.
You often feel quite alone in your views, and certainly as somebody in my generation when it wasn't cool to be a feminist at all. It's really heartening to kind of to meet women for all kinds of different backgrounds, ages, and feel like we may have different views about what feminism is and what it means to people, but we actually all kind of agree that we should be in this space and walk through.
The walk will start here on Mount Street and will follow this year's theme of Inspire Inclusion, a nod to women of all ages and backgrounds who continue to pave the way for an equal and equitable future.
Other events include a rally in solidarity for the women in Palestine. Volunteer Carol told me more.
Because we also want to fight for a complete ceasefire. And there's going to be testaments from women from Palestine that are going to be read out.
I finally caught up with some of the public to get their thoughts on the day.
Women play an important role, certainly in the workplace, as well as them or women that decide to stay at home, raise a family.
Everything starts with a woman, right?
So that women are part of the working class and they often have the double oppression of looking after their families.
Still some things to fight about, so it's important to celebrate this day.
The day will be filled reflecting on those who paved the way for the women of tomorrow. Anna Stelfox, Quays News.
A man in Salford is looking to push his mental and physical boundaries by running 365 kilometres this year. That's the equivalent to 8 marathons. With the first race in Barcelona on Sunday, our reporter Sam Armitage spoke to Connor Robinson about his journey to completing the challenge.
Marathon running is no easy task. This year, Connor Robinson is running 8.5 in an aim to raise money for the Christie Foundation.
So the inspiration from this challenge come from my best friend Jack, whose mum passed away from cancer in 2020. 2024 just thought was my time to do a bit and help him out and help out his family and the Christie charity.
The Christie Foundation helps treat over 60,000 cancer patients a year. And despite Connor's challenge already raising money for a good cause, it wasn't until January this year that it became more sentimental for him.
And we got the news that my dad had been diagnosed, unfortunately, with cancer. So it kind of spun the challenge on its head a little bit, and it's obviously become a lot more personal.
The marathons start this Sunday as Connor swaps Eccles Park runs for the Barcelona Marathon. And as daunting as it may seem, he is definitely up for the challenge.
Running a 10k, a half marathon, one marathon would have been massive, so 8.5 is kind of off the scale.
Man, I don't know how you're able to do all these marathons. What's actually going through your head when you do it?
Just the money, trying to raise as much as we possibly can for the Christie and spread the message of the great work that they do.
And well, Connor there, he has 8 marathons to run this year. He already has announced Barcelona and Manchester, but he's going to be going through Leeds and other places in Europe as well as the UK. And if you want to donate, you have to go to justgiving.com/Let's Run with Connor. The Just Giving page has already smashed its £3,600 target. With over 5,000 raised before the first marathon, the sky truly is the limit. But as well as raising money, Connor looks to motivate others.
I'd love to inspire anyone who's ever thought that they couldn't run a marathon, even one, or anybody who thought they could never run a 5k or a 10k. My message would be, you're a lot stronger than you think you are, and yeah, anyone can do it.
Sam Armitage, Quays News, reporting from Salford.
Now, here is our fashion correspondent, Tiara Anglin-Main, who has an exciting story about a Salford fashion designer.
Thanks for joining me this afternoon. Today, we'll be looking at a Salford fashion designer who has a collection inspired by our very city. Colette Costello was taught how to sew by her grandmother Betty, who used to tell Colette all about growing up in Salford during the Victorian era. Colette's grandmother was part of the make, do and mend generation and always upcycled and fixed clothes instead of disposing of them. You can tell sustainability is something very important to Colette. Through her company Hack Sew, which she launched in 2008, the designer hosts her own sewing course and retails pre-cut kits and also sells her own fabrics in an effort to encourage fashion to become more sustainable. Some of the Hack Sew patterns take inspiration from things you would have seen around Salford. For example, this pattern, which is inspired by the old fire station on Salford Crescent, and this pattern here, which is inspired by the Gallery Cafe in Urmston. However, there are many more fabrics that have taken inspiration from a plethora of things, such as Victorian and Edwardian imagery, objects such as classic cars, and many, many more. I'd personally say that Colette's Hack Sew fabric patterns are very reminiscent of Orla Keeley with her iconic stem leaf print, or even Kath Kidston with her nostalgic floral prints. She has her own style and she sticks to it, and it's very, very charming. Stay tuned, because we'll be speaking to Colette about her collection in further detail next time. Thanks, guys.
Thank you for the insightful piece there, Tiara.
Yeah, I actually I love that it's local, and I think it was just really interesting.
Yeah, I'd love to see more on that actually. Well, the weather so far has been nice and sunny, but the question is, will the weather be keeping up? Leon, what's the weather looking like for the weekend?
It certainly has been very warm, sunny, the whole lot this week. So the sun is out today again, it's brilliant Thursday, and it's on its way this weekend as well. It starts off on Friday, as you can see behind me, wonderful Media City, but this weekend it's going to be fairly settled, not too cold, with some rain on Sunday. On Saturday, it's going to be temperatures of 8 degrees with a gentle breeze coming in from the east, as you can see on this map. And once again, going into Sunday, there'll be temperatures of 9 degrees, which again, you can see with a small dot of rain in on Saturday morning. But most of the weekend will be warm, sunny, and moving into spring. So I don't know about you lot, but anything this weekend you look forward to make the most of?
Well, I've
some
started to
clear
go on
weather?
a couple of runs actually, so now the weather's nice, I might carry on doing those, especially over this weekend.
Yeah. I'm thinking of maybe going out. You know what, I haven't seen my friends for a while. I feel like,
it's starting to feel like summer, and yeah, Leon?
What are you doing?
Yeah, I'm going to watch United tomorrow morning, on Saturday morning.
Okay.
So hopefully
who are they playing?
They're playing Everton.
Oh,
so,
of course.
But the problem is Old Trafford's falling down, so you don't want it to rain because there's a leaky roof, so you don't want to get too wet. So fingers crossed it's dry and warm and the whole lot anyway.
That's where I run to actually, and it is just busy all the time, even with no one. But yeah. Well, that's all we have time for today.
Thank you for joining us.
Goodbye.